All right, guys, as promised, this is going to be a quick little video just to walk you through your assignment for today. So if you will, please pull up your Delta Math. We're doing features of polynomial graphs today. I'm not going to do all of these. I'm just going to do like one from each section. So let's click on this first one here. Okay, it says determine if it's even, odd, or neither. I see here that my highest power is x to the 6. And if it's an x to the 6 as the highest power, that means it is even. Okay, versus if it were like x to the 5 or an odd number there, we would pick odd. Okay, you should not be choosing neither. So number 1 is even. Okay, you'll do number 2 on your own. Next, I'm clicking onto the third question. Okay, feel free to pause and restart this as needed. Okay, here's your next question. It says, which of the following is the end behavior of f of x? So I'm going to look at my graph here. I see first that the right end is going to be as x goes to infinity. The right end or the left end is going to be as x goes to negative infinity. Then I look at what my ends are actually doing. I see that both of them are pointed down. Then that means that f of x should be going to negative infinity on both sides. Okay, so remember that this part up here, okay, tells you what end you're on. So this is a left end versus a right end. But since both of them are pointed down, I want f of x to be approaching negative infinity for both. So let's look at our answer choices and see which one of those matches. Okay, for my answer choices, let's do eraser here. Okay, for my answer choices, I see this one. I have a y that's pointed to infinity. That would mean it's going up. So I don't want that. I don't want that. Okay, out of these bottom two here, these both are negative infinity for my y's, but this one has one end pointed up, which means I want letter C. Okay, also you should know that f of x and y are the same. So if it says f of x approaching infinity or y approaching infinity, those are the same. Okay. So for the third question, you're choosing the third answer. Now, one thing I hate about the way they formatted this is that notice that this is the right end and x going to negative infinity is the left end. So what I actually have here is that this over here, this goes with this one. And then this goes with this one. So just be careful that those are like out of order essentially. Okay, but just be careful as you're picking. Some of them it's in the same order, but some of them it changes. Okay. All right. So third one for that. Okay, next one we're going to do is finding roots from a graph. So this is 1, 2, 3 we just did, 4, 5, 6, 7 from the top. Okay, it says, what are all of the solutions for f of x equal to 0? Okay, well, good news for you that they're giving you the graph. And so you should know that f of x is going to equal 0 at all of the places where it has an x-intercept. Okay, that's what that means. Okay, so you don't even have to actually find these by hand. You're literally just looking at the picture and then picking the values. So if I come down to this graph here, I see that I have one here, here, and here. And then all that you're going to do is list those values in the box shown below. So this is -6, -3. The next one over here is 3. And then the last one over here, if that's 6 and that's 8, then right between there would be 7. Also, if you need to add a box, either push the comma and it should automatically pop up, like the comma on your keyboard. Okay, or if you click this button over here, this little plus sign, it'll give you an extra box. But I actually don't need an extra box, so it won't let me have one. Okay, but as soon as you type this comma that you're seeing as part of my answer, okay, as soon as I put that comma, it gives me a new box. You are not putting X equals for these. You're literally just listing the values. Okay. So that one should be -6, -3, 3, and 7. Okay. All right, we have one more question left that we're going to work through, which is going to be selecting the equation from roots. And I'm just going to pick the first of those. So I think this was question 7, then this would be 8, 9, 10. So this is now the 10th question. Okay, it says, which of the following could represent the graph shown below? Okay, we'll look at your equation. First thing I want to point out to you is that if I have an X in the front, that means that X equals 0 should be one of my values. Okay, if you have an X on the outside, remember what I told you, that it has to touch at 0. So if I look at my graph up here, I do notice, okay, that it has a dot right here. Do you see that at 0? Actually, let me do the little, how did I do that little circle? Okay, right here at 0, right there. Okay. So that means that one of these bottom two have to be correct because they have an X on the outside, and that is what I want. Okay, so I know it's either this one or this one. Now, the other place where it crosses is right here, which is a +4. Oops, sorry. A +4. And if you'll notice that if this is a +4 here, then my parentheses has to be the opposite. So the other one would have to be a -4. Okay, remember that wherever it actually hits on the x-axis, it's always the opposite of what the parentheses would have said. So the X on the outside comes from the 0. And then if it's a 4, I'd put X -4. Okay. So that comes from those two values. Maybe we'll do one more from that section just to make sure that you have the right idea. So let's go into the very next question right after that one. Okay. All right, one more like that. Take a look at this question. Okay, first thing I notice is that this very first example here, okay, it only crosses once. It crosses at -5. Well, then if there's X equals -5, the parentheses has to be a +5. Okay, and then I would look at the graph and see, does it cross anywhere else? Well, as I'm scanning the x-axis, okay, I notice that it never touches again. Then if that's the only thing, that's the only one, then if I'm looking at my answers, I'd have to pick this one. Because do you see how both of the terms are X + 5 and it's not giving you any extra answers? Okay, versus like, what if the correct answer was this first one? Well, if there's an X on the outside, it's supposed to cross at 0. And I see here that it doesn't. That eliminates. Okay, for this one, I have the X + 5, but I also have an X -5, which means that I should get an X equal to 5 from the first one and an X equals -5 from the second one. Now, when I look at the graph, I do have the -5, check. Okay, but when I'm looking for the regular 5 over here, I notice my graph never touches there. So then I can eliminate that one. Okay, and then same thing for D. I have an X -5, but remember, X -5 means that your x-intercept would happen at +5. And we see here at 5 that it does not hit. Okay. So I hope that helps. If you are panicking, ask a friend next to you to work on this with you. And I will be back next week. If you need an extension on this homework, or if you're confused, just don't sweat it. We'll get it done. Okay? Y'all have a great day. See what you can get finished.